Believe it or not, that's actually a little cardboard model of the tiny house. Ended up being quite accurate. And in my rented room, I actually made the little kitchenette that I still use today, kitchen counter. And all this lumber I got from this guy that was throwing it out. I couldn't find a good used trailer, so I ordered a new one from Action Trailers, and while I was waiting for it to arrive, I built the framing and panels. I phoned Action Trailers to see where the wheel wells would be, so then I could build the frames, the panels on either side of those wheel wells, and then just build a basic frame that I could adjust easily later once I got the actual trailer. In late August, I finally got my trailer. I had ordered it from Action Trailers in Southern Ontario. It's a 16-foot tiny house trailer. It's their smallest one, but it was the most expensive part of the build, $6,000, but I wanted the foundation to be good. Then the floor joists, I put lots of insulation in, but stupidly, there's thermal bridging because I just put the subfloor in and I didn't insulate on top of that, so I always had cold floors. There's my friend John helping with the framing, and Beekler helping with the framing. My little buddy. And my friend Craig helped a lot with the roof. I got the framing up. Oh, so happy with that. And bolted it down to the trailer and put some reinforcement brackets on. Roof. Got some really cheap secondhand roof. And then put the wrap around it. On a very rainy day, all by myself, it worked well. It was really cool inside. It looked like a tent. Then I started the long, arduous process of insulating. And it's not exactly hard work, but it's time consuming and so messy. And I tried to use every little square, every little bit, lots of taping and spray foamed in between, just layers and layers of it, because I wanted it really well insulated. Worked well. I worked evenings after work and weekends. And this was so silly. This is where you need a second person to hold stuff up. Oh, man. And I thought it was so clever, holding it up with a board. Pride comes before the fall, and the thing fell down and bonked me in the head. It was so funny. But I got it done. Anyway, kept going. I was unrolling some Reflectix because I read in a tiny house book that you're supposed to put that on the ceiling, so that's what I did. Yeah, that was actually not too hard. Just stapled it on, taped it, put the boards over top of it, and did all the outside plywood, which wasn't too hard. And you can see there's a mural on the back. That was from an old, actually the old newspaper store, the Minden Times building. And a local artist did it. And I painted it over it, but I kept a little truth window to show that there's a mural underneath it. It was just a bunch of, somehow my old landlord ended up with it, and he said I could use it as some of my boards. So I'm happy to have some heritage in there of Minden. Cutting out the windows was actually really fun. The top, the edges of the roof were really tricky to do by myself. Yeah, I took actually very few videos of myself doing this. I didn't actually know how to put windows in, so I had a friend help me by showing me how to do one. We did one together, and then I did all the rest by myself. I was really proud because 4 of the 5 windows I got, not counting the sliding door, I got for $200 altogether at the at Habitat for Humanity. And then the one above the one I was just putting in here was actually given to me for free by my former coworker Jim. So thank you, Jim, for that. To maximize passive solar energy, I put the bulk of the windows on the south side of my tiny house, which was why I ended up going with a sliding door, which was quite the beast. So I did have a friend help me put that in. I physically couldn't do it by myself. Now remember, while living in my rented room, I had already built my kitchen counter and my little compost toilet, so I just installed them in after the fact. That little gray and white cooler there, DC cooler, didn't work out very well, so I just got rid of that. Building the little interior walls was really fun. I didn't really plan the bathroom very well, other than I wanted it really bright, but it still worked out. There's just a piece of metal that I buffered down as a heat shield, cut a hole in the ceiling for the chimney, and I didn't have a jigsaw, so I just used my drill and then punched that out. And cut out square, put the chimney through. That chimney was too long, so then I went with the shorter chimney, even though it wasn't above the highest peak. And then I just put a bunch of metal stuff in heat-proof spray foam. That thing was hard to put on. And oh yeah, I had put on bricks around my Cubic Mini wood stove for thermal mass, which is a great idea. That was a real success. And just working on the trim. Yeah, it was a Cubic Mini wood stove cub. I just built my bed platform / love seat combo on top of one of the wheel wells. The plywood on the ceiling by myself was that was probably the single most physically strenuous part of the whole build. It's stupid to do it by yourself, but anyway, I did. That sink was, I think I got it for $2 or $3. That wooden rack was an old magazine rack from the Organic Times health food store where I used to work. My friend Deborah gave it to me, and I use it as a pantry. Salvation Army curtains, nice thick insulating ones. And stupidly put the tiles down without insulating the floor. All those lights they all have a solar panel outside, and they work really well from Home Hardware, no longer available. I love the finishing touch of the ceiling. And then using the boards I got from that guy who was getting rid of all that plywood, I built a little platform for a propane tank and attached that myself. I was proud of that. And my former coworker, Kevin, gave me that amazing little stove. Now, for my first winter, I used straw bales, but they're kind of messy, one. And two, they hold a lot of water, so I didn't use them again. I just did some of the trim before the worst of the winter. And then in the spring, I finished off the trim to really make it look like a fairy tale house. Nice. I liked it. The Cubic Mini wood stove was actually a bit too small on the left, so on the right I switched it out for the Grizzly, a little bit bigger. My cousin Annie gave me the money for that. And I also made a little desk over the wheel well. For my second winter in the tiny house, I ditched the straw bales and used these thick pieces of foam that my friend Adam gave me. They don't look too pretty, but they worked really well, and I can just store them under the tiny house. That little bathroom tray actually didn't work out so well for bath time, but so I got rid of that. But the kitchen is so efficient and excellent. Love it. Everything's so fun in there. The bed is so cozy. It's just a wonderful space to be in. Of course, all of this was only possible by the grace of God. I have to thank Him for the strength in my body, for putting the right people in my path when I needed them, for keeping resources within my reach, even during the supply chain shortages. So this video isn't meant to be self-glorifying, but I hope I've inspired you to realize just what's possible when you put your dreams in the hands of our Creator.